Hello everyone, I'm John and this is the Select Pet channel. If this is your first time here, thanks for stopping by. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, it helps me out a lot. And give a thumbs up and share it out to your friends. But in this episode, we're going to be looking at an article from Country Living. It came out a few weeks ago about the top 12 cutest fish for you to add to your aquarium. So let's look at that and see what I think about it and what fish they listed as the top 12 cutest fish. Okay, so not that long ago, in February of 2025, so depending on when this video comes out, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a few days ago, Country Living put out an article about the 12 cutest fish for you to add to your aquarium. So that title just in itself, cutest fish, to me, cuteness should be the last thing that determines if you should get the fish or not. But looking at the article, it starts off with talking about you've had dogs, you've had cats, you've had all the cuddly creatures, and you want to start a fish aquarium. So this is going to be your first tank. And it talks about, you know, looking for that fish that you could just cuddle up to. So that gets me thinking already that this is going to be an interesting article because you shouldn't want to cuddle up to your fish. Fish aren't a cuddle type of pet. So let's dive right in and start with number one. The first fish that they suggest as the cutest fish for your aquarium, and we got to take into consideration these suggestions, according to the article, are all for someone that's starting off their first tank, a brand new fish keeper, new into the hobby, and these are the top 12 fish that are the cutest fish that they should get. So the first fish that they list is seahorses. Okay, so maybe in a stuffed animal or on a movie, seahorses are really cute and popular and unique, and I get it. But I don't suggest these as a good beginner fish, and I don't even see it as a cute fish. But we'll dive into a little bit more coming up about seahorses or saltwater, and I don't suggest saltwater for a beginner. Saltwater can be done as a beginner, but it's more work, more expense. Sounds like I'm diving into it now. But then when you get to seahorses, they aren't compatible with very many fish, and a new aquarium hobbyist will be attracted to many different types of fish. And you will be putting them down, swaying them away from the hobby, limiting them that strongly on their first fish, on their first aquarium. Also, seahorses can be finicky when it comes to water quality and feeding. So number one's a no-go for me. Number two, they've got clownfish. And we all know why clownfish is on this list. It's because that movie back in, like, what was it, like 2005 or something, of Finding Nemo. That movie did some of the worst damage to the marine life ecosystems that could be done. But that's a topic for another video. Clownfish are cute, and they would make a great beginner fish for someone starting their first marine tank. But as I said before, marine tanks, saltwater tanks, aren't what I suggest for beginners, because of the higher cost of operation, the higher cost to get the things, and limited availability, that not every area has saltwater items and fish available. More places will have freshwater available than will be saltwater. So number 2, the clownfish is a no-go for me also. So we're 0-2. Not looking good for this list. Number 3 for the cutest, number 3 cutest fish to add to your aquarium, axolotls. Ah, come on. Axolotls aren't a fish. Axolotls are an amphibian. They're a type of a salamander. They've got really popular recently. There's all kinds of cartoons and stuffed animals and toys and stuff with axolotls. So they are cute, but they're not a fish. So immediately disqualified. Number 4 for the top 12 cutest fish for your aquarium. Remember, this is for new aquarists doing your first tank. Number 4 is a telescope goldfish. Okay, so it's a fish. It's freshwater, so it's got those things going for it. It's one of the closest ones on this list, probably, that would be a good suggestion. But I don't suggest goldfish are your first fish. Goldfish are most people's first fish because you can get feeder goldfish real cheap. And people don't understand what it takes to care for a goldfish. Goldfish aren't as easy as people think. Goldfish can live 40 years or more and have certain conditions that they require. And because goldfish are typically the first fish that people get, that's why 40% leave the hobby in their first 2 years. One of the leading causes. Goldfish in general have dietary needs that are different from tropical fish, that feeding them the wrong foods could cause digestive problems, could cause water quality problems, could cause health problems. And most people don't realize this and don't take this into consideration, and it will lead to complications in their aquarium keeping. Goldfish also have a limited number of tank mates that are available, of other fish that you can get to go with them. There are other fish that can go with goldfish, but it takes some care to pick them out and to choose wisely. It's more difficult than just going with a tropical fish or some other species of cool water or temperate water fish. And because of the way their digestive system works, goldfish require larger amounts of water than you would think and require large water changes. Just because the amount of waste that they typically produce. Telescope goldfish in particular are prone to eye injuries, eye conditions, infections, other types of diseases. And compiling all of this onto a brand new fish keeper, it's no wonder that they get out of the hobby. So number 4, the telescope goldfish. It's not a hard no, but it's definitely not a yes. So let's move on to number 5. The 5th cutest fish for your new aquarium. Cherry shrimp. Does anybody see a problem with this? Cherry shrimp is the cutest fish. While cute and easy to keep, cherryfish get disqualified as the cutest fish for obvious reasons. Shrimp aren't fish. This is an invertebrate. you know, a crustacean. It's a shrimp, not a fish. It's right there in the name. All right, let's move on to number 6. Number 6 for the cutest fish for your aquarium. And remember, this is for a new hobbyist, a new fish keeper, first tank. Let's see what they've got for the cutest fish at number 6. Really? An octopus? At this point, I wonder why someone would even take the suggestions of this article. Apparently the author missed like the 3rd grade science classes where they teach us what a fish is. Besides it not being a fish, you know, octopus, it's a mollusk. Besides it not being a fish, octopus are definitely not for beginners. They're saltwater. They're escape artists. They're expensive, and a multitude of other reasons. That's a horrible suggestion for a first fish. And I don't think octopi are cute. You know, maybe your stuffed animal one is cute, or the ones on little cartoon shows are cute, but real octopi aren't cute. Number 7 for the, I'm scared to look to see what it is. Number 7 for the cutest fish for your new aquarium. Corydoras. Okay, this works. This is one I can stand behind. I don't have issues with this one being on the list at all. Corydoras are cute. They're readily available. There's many species of Corydoras. Comes in different patterns and colors, different price points. They're compatible with different other species. There's ones that can go in cool water, one that prefer warmer waters. They're really hardy. Thumbs up on that one. A good choice on number 7, Corydoras. All right, maybe we're getting on our good streak here. So getting to number 7 before we find our first actual good, cute fish for a new hobbyist, a new tank. You know, maybe the second half is better than the first. Let's move on to number 8. Number 8, puffer fish. Okay. So, Corydoras, number 7, it was a group of fish, like a family of fish, multiple species in that. Puffer fish is also like a type of fish. There's multiple species in that. And there's such a large variety of them with such varying conditions. So just listing the puffer in general knocks it off my list as it being a good, cute fish for a new beginner hobbyist. So looking at the different puffer fish, first off, all of the saltwater puffers, we have to rule those out just because we've already established that saltwater wouldn't be good for what we're suggesting as a brand new aquarium hobbyist to start off with. And then going with the freshwater puffers, a lot that are sold as freshwater puffers are actually brackish water puffers. So we got to rule those off the list. And that leaves us with the true only freshwater puffers, the ones that lived in strictly freshwater. And most of those aren't as readily available as we would like something to be if we're suggesting it as a first beginner fish, cutest fish for your new aquarium type thing. So they're harder to get, and they're not really beginner price friendly. And this isn't really mentioning, we haven't mentioned anything about their dental requirements. Puffers have special dental requirements, special diet, and generally an overall ability or lack thereof to cohabitate in community aquariums, which we had discussed earlier, that new hobbyists will want to have different types of fish to encourage their hobby. So number 8, the pufferfish, another no-go. So number 9, let's look at number 9. African dwarf frog. Why am I not surprised that this article thinks that a frog is a fish? Definitely ruled off the list. It's not even a fish. Move on. Number 10. Number 10 is a snail. Oh, but of course, if a shrimp, an octopus, an axolotl, and a frog are all fish, then a snail must be a fish too. Where are we finding these people? Alright, a snail's not a fish either. Let's move on to the next. Number 11 for the cutest fish for your new aquarium. Number 11. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Marine hermit crab. Okay, so I think the author of the article is trolling us at this point. You know, a crab also is not a fish. So how can you say a hermit crab is the cutest fish? A crab's not a fish, a shrimp's not a fish, an octopus isn't a fish, a snail's not a fish, a frog's not a fish, axolotl's not a fish. Let's just go ahead and throw in there birds aren't fish, mammals aren't fish, turtles aren't fish, snakes aren't fish. Just fish are fish. If we're going to say we're going to look at the cutest fish, have it be a fish. So we've ruled that one off the list too. It's not even a fish. And it brings us to our last one. What's the last one going to be? Blood parrot cichlid. Alright, so reading this section of the article cracked me up. The first part of the article, in the first section, the author starts to describe the blood parrot cichlid and mentions that it's a hybrid, which it is. And the author says it's a hybrid created by breeding different species of fish together. Very, very true. But the author is sure to point out that these different species are mainly freshwater fish. Mainly freshwater fish? What do they think happened? They think a convict wooed the clownfish in the saltwater tank next to it to hop on over and have some babies? I mean, I wouldn't put it past the convict for trying to breed with a clownfish, but come on. Parrotfish are the product of 100% freshwater fish. There's no saltwater fish in its genetics. They didn't breed a clownfish with a convict or any other saltwater fish with a freshwater fish to make a freshwater fish. Okay. So it is a hybrid. And it's a hybrid of a mix of different freshwater fish. And this hybridization created physical deformities, which gives the blood parrot its look. Among these physical deformities are is a mouth that it can't close. So I don't suggest blood parrots in general to anyone, and definitely not to beginners, because its deformities can cause health issues, and the temperament, you know, the blood parrot cichlid, it's a cichlid. Cichlids are generally aggressive, territorial, that type of thing. But the temperament of the blood parrot can often lead to them being aggressive and often starting fights that they can't finish. The blood parrots require somewhat larger tanks, and because their mouths can't close, they're messy eaters, and they can foul up the water pretty easily, making more work on the hobbyist. So we definitely don't want to throw that onto a beginner aquarium keeper. So out of these 12 fish that was listed, only a handful of them were actually fish. Only one I would suggest to a beginner, and that's the Corydoras. The telescope goldfish, it's a far, far, far second. You know, there's a multitude of other cuter, better beginner fish that I would recommend before we got to the telescope goldfish. But that could be another video. Would you like to see that video of what I suggest as the top 12 cutest fish for a beginner hobbyist? If so, let me know in the comments. Also in the comments, what do you think of this list? What is your top pick for the cutest fish to add to a beginner's aquarium? So we'll see you next time. Until then, remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you know when I put out another video, and maybe you'll see the video if you all want me to make it of the top 12 cutest fish I suggest. But until then, we'll see ya.